A very popular perspective that you will see shared amongst some of the biggest and most popular Twitch streamers or YouTube video game commentators is this notion, this idea that Zelda should be the main character in a mainline Zelda game. Let me just be unambiguously clear here. You will never be able to play as Zelda in a mainline Zelda game, and I will explain why in this video. But I want to say that I find it a little bit alarming at how ready audiences in the West are to just simply disregard Link and simply disregard Zelda's contributions. One of the things that I've heard continuously is that Zelda's role isn't important enough because you are not playing her in the game. That is just absolutely ludicrous, and I think it reveals the flawed thinking in many Western cultural discussions. You don't have to play as somebody as the main character to appreciate their absolutely fundamental aspect to the game. In fact, you have people that have said that Zelda's role in Breath of the Wild was damsel status. Damsel status. Unreal. You have people saying, well, Zelda fell in the pit, so she's going to be a damsel again. My question is, first of all, why are you people so monstrously stupid? I mean, honestly, it blows my mind that you people are able to use the internet and breathe at the same time. It is just stunning to me. Because if you reduce down all the things that Zelda has contributed to the Zelda series, as she's a damsel in need of rescuing, I don't know what to say. Why are you a fan of this series? It really needs to be asked, why are you a fan of this series? If you want them to change every fundamental aspect of this game to suit your Western sensibilities, why are you a fan of this game? I'll tell you why I'm a fan of this game. I'm a fan of this game because The Legend of Zelda masterfully tells the hero's journey and does it in a way that is true to the hero's journey doctrine, which says that each character plays a role in making the character want to go forward into the world and giving them the tools that they need to accomplish that. So, as it relates to Zelda, her role is the embodiment of wisdom. She's not the fighter. She's not courage. She's not the one that goes into the dungeon. She is the one that has all of the important key pieces to solving the riddles of the world in her mind. Because she knows, if you play the Ocarina of Time, you know that she knows the backstory of the goddesses. She knows about the Ocarina of Time. In fact, in that game, she's the one that hands it off to Link. And she knows about the Song of Time. She knows about these important things that Link has no clue about. And it's her giving these pieces to Link that are fundamental to him being able to complete the game. They are a team in this. It isn't simply that Link is the playable character, so therefore he does everything, so he's the champion and she's the damsel. No, absolutely not. In nearly every Zelda game, Zelda plays a fundamental role in sealing Ganon and being part of that journey. So if you diminish her role because she's not the playable character who also does the fighting, I think it says a lot about your lack of intelligence, but also the corrupted culture in the West in general. Because the Japanese have a very solid understanding of storytelling and the roles that certain people play. Ganon represents the power. He represents the corruption. Link is fighting against that. And Zelda is there to give Link the pieces that he needs to clear the way to ultimately defeat him. If not for Zelda, the world would have been over and Link would have died. That is not damsel status. That is not Zelda waiting in a castle. Zelda has been sealing Ganon for 100 years. It's Zelda's pictures in Breath of the Wild that were fundamental to Link being able to solve the mystery of his memories and ultimately become stronger, to find the Master Sword, to pull it out. All of her pieces across the world that Link finds helps him in immeasurable ways. But this idea is that we should do away with Link, or that Nintendo should do away with Link, and replace him with Zelda. And I've seen certain things where people say, well, what if Link is captured? What if Link is the one who's, trapped in this thing and Zelda has to save him? It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work because you would have to change the fundamental aspect of the entire game. Zelda knows pretty much everything. She has the Triforce of Wisdom. So you would have to find a way to relay all of the knowledge in Zelda's head to the audience. Either that, or you would have to dumb Zelda down to the audience's level, give her the same knowledge level as the audience, and then have her go forth in the world. And then it begs the question, why? At that point, does she not have the Triforce of Wisdom? Is she just a female version of Link? What is your motivation in wanting Zelda to be the playable character? Do you want her to have the spirit of the hero? Do you want her to pull the Master Sword? Do you want her to basically do what her and Link both do? You have to ask the question, why? Why do you want that? Why are you so obsessed with that? And then also, why are you a fan of The Legend of Zelda if that's the case? Because that will never happen. Why are you a fan of this game franchise if you want them to change every fundamental aspect of the game? And so, this is very important. Zelda will never be the main playable character, ever. So if you're hoping for that in Breath of the Wild 2, I'm sorry, I'm going to be the one that has to burst your bubble. It's never going to happen. And the people who are trying to say that Zelda was the one flying through the skies because Link had longer hair, or it was Zelda at these certain moments. I mean, honestly, I don't even know what to say to somebody like that. That is the most deranged cope that I've ever seen. Of course it's not Zelda. Anyone looking at that knows it's not Zelda. I could be blind, and I know that it's not Zelda. With the shield and the sword and everything, and look, I'm going to try to be as polite as I can. But of course it's not Zelda. But you had people that were desperately saying, it's Zelda, look at the hair. This is something that I think is wrong with the culture of the West. And it's this need to morally validate things that really don't have anything to do with whatever it is that you're talking about. So there's no reason to have Zelda be the main playable character. There's not one reason that you can give me that would make the Legend of Zelda series better by having Zelda as the main playable character. You just can't. And so what it comes down to is you have people that think, it would be cool to play Zelda. Yeah, it would be cool to play Zelda. Do you know where you can play as Zelda? Age of Calamity, which is an awesome game, which has an awesome story. And it's not a Zelda game. And so it makes perfect sense why Zelda is a playable character. It makes perfect sense why Zelda can be your main character. That game, it makes sense, because it's not a Legend of Zelda game. The lore in that game is its own. But what we're talking about here with these Zelda games is we're talking about a formula, we're talking about a style, we're talking about a certain series of principles with the hero's journey doctrine, which lays out these fundamental things, where Link is the reflection of the player. Link is the one that isn't burdened with knowledge. He's the one who, even though he doesn't have all the answers, he still goes forth into the world, not really knowing much, but he gets stronger as he goes on, and he's given the pieces of the puzzle as he goes, and Zelda is the main component of that discovery. And in the end, she helps him defeat Ganon, which is the embodiment of evil, which is what ultimately motivates Link to enter into the world. Ganon has done something, and Link has to stop him because he's hurting the people that Link care about and, the world of Hyrule in general. So I wanted to make this video because I think it's important to understand Zelda will never be a main playable character, and for very good reason. Now, if you are upset by that, if you are angered by that, if you don't want to hear that, I have a suggestion for you, and you're not going to want to hear this either. find another game. No, seriously. Horizon Zero Dawn is fantastic. I mean, honestly, it's a legitimately good game. There are great games with female characters that would be more to your taste. But if you're looking for Zelda to be the main playable character, it's never going to happen. And the reason I can say that with absolute certainty is because I've listened to Shigeru Miyamoto and Eiji Aonuma. I know how important the principles of the hero's journey doctrine are to them. It's not just something that they slap up because they'd be like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? No, it means something deep to them. Every Zelda game does. So, it will never happen. Okay? Are we clear on that? Are we crystal clear on that? It will never happen. Zelda has a vital and fundamental role. She is the name of the game, The Legend of Zelda. She will never be the person that you play as the main character. And it's very unlikely that you will play as her in some sort of side character role. But I can guarantee you, as the main playable character, and thankfully this is true, because I would never want to see Link diminished in any way, because he's a fantastic representation of the audience. He will always be the main character, because he is you. He is the reflection of you entering into the new world. Anyway, on that note, I will bid you guys a good day. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.